Hey precious people, how's everyone doing today? If this is your first time watching any of my videos, my name is Precious Wadero and I welcome you. And today I'm talking about something that's very touchy. It's a sensitive topic, and this topic, hits home for me because I can count on more than my 10 fingers women that I know that have gone through this. And this is a very sensitive topic. And today I'm talking about when it reaches a breaking point. And a breaking point, if you look at my thumbnail, you see a breaking point. See, I had the rocks, and those little rocks were once a boulder, a big old block. But when something keeps hammering on it, what happens? It breaks apart, and slowly by slowly, and most times you don't really see the damage that is done, but from the inside out, the rock begins to crack, and then it shatters, it breaks apart and falls apart. And yes, today I'm talking about domestic violence. This topic has been, in my head for over 2 weeks, and I have tried everything to, because I know I can't dodge it, I can't avoid it, because this is a platform that God has given me to speak on these things that are heavy on the mouth to talk about, and I know that His grace is sufficient for me. In the Bible, when in 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, when God said to the man, to love your wife, to cherish your wife as the weaker vessel, but as also co-heirs, as joint heirs of the inheritance of God with you. And that was to say, how I understand it, how the Holy Spirit interpreted it was, the wife is a weaker vessel. Because most times we say the wife is a weaker vessel, but if she's a weaker vessel, then someone is weak. That means the man, the husband, is also weak, but she is the weaker vessel. She is the more fragile one, and needs to be taken care of. And so I wonder, it has always puzzled me how you would marry a wife and you call a bone of your bone and the flesh of your flesh, and then you inflict pain on her, and you not only abuse her physically, you say words that are damaging, that are emotionally traumatizing to her. There was this story about a man, a Nigerian man, that went home and married his wife and brought her over to Dallas, Texas, and assisted her. She became a nurse, and when she became a nurse, for him, he said she became compass, and he had his daily job, so she became more or less like the breadwinner of the family, which is normal. That is the new normal. If a wife is more financially secure, it is actually okay. That's why you're the helpmeet. You help meet the demands and the needs of the family. You do what you can do to support your husband, because the two of you are a team. So it doesn't matter who brings in the money. The two of you are a team. But along the line, they began to have this tussle. There was a video made by Jidensky. I think it's Jidenky. He reenacted a video, a 911 call of how this man called 911 and said, I shot her. I shot my wife. I killed her. I this, I that. And when I watched, this is not the first time I have been watching these kind of videos and hearing stories. And I also have someone close to me from Cameroon that killed his wife and also killed himself. And it started from money, and then from money to stress and tension in the home, to domestic violence, where he would put his hands on her and she would call the cops on him, and finally they separated. And he was like, I can't take it anymore. You made me lose my home, lose my family. And he shot the wife and shot himself. And sometimes they do this in front of the children. And that is a different story for another day. The trauma these children have to go through with life for the rest of their life, unless they go and deal with it. So I began to wonder. I said, how can you marry somebody and inflict this kind of pain on them? This is your wife. And I was speaking to somebody, and I asked him, I said, what happened? He told me his story. And he said he used to beat his wife. The wife is late, but after the first and the second time he did it, that he had to actually give his life to God, and that was what saved him. He repented, and when he repented, that God helped him. He had to seek counsel with the pastor and the priest, and he had to seek counsel, and he repented until the wife passed. He never laid his hands on her again. And that is a situation where he actually changed. But many women are going through domestic violence where they are being beaten. Some of them have to use makeup, to cover what is going on. Some of them have been permanently maimed. Some of them have been permanently disfigured, and they don't even have anybody to talk to. And it's just breaking my heart, because I don't know how we got to this place. And it's been going on for generations. But we have cameras now that is showing all these things. And I began to wonder, when I watch these things, my heart breaks and I bleed and I say, God, why? Why is it that if you marry a man and you cannot find peace in your own home? If you don't have peace in your home, where else can you have peace? Your home should be your refuge. It should be your refuge. And so today I want to make a plea to the men, because this is not where you come and you point finger. No, that is far from it, because my mission is not to point finger at anybody. My mission is to bring us together to find a solution, because anybody can come on social media and rain abuses and rain, curses on anybody and just and vent and log off. But my mission is to know why these things happen. And I come to discover that one of the reasons why these things happen is, number one, communication. Men, the anatomy and the physiology of men, they are not good communicators. Women can easily say how they feel, what is aching them, but men they bottle it up. And sometimes we think, oh, naturally men bottle things up. And I've come to find out that men bottle things up because of the way many of them were raised. Because many times when they try to complain when they were growing up, they were called sissies. They were say, hey, keep quiet, shut up and keep quiet. Don't cry, you're a man, don't cry. And then they bottle these things up from childhood. And so when they grow up and they get married, what happens? They continue this horrible culture of keeping everything inside. And then one day your wife does something and you don't say anything. She does another one, you don't say anything. She does another one, you don't say anything. Until one day, the thing you vow you would never do in your life, you put your hands on her. And that is because you bottled everything inside. Now that is one situation. Another situation, apart from this tension, is when you go to work. Some people have this kind of generational curse. And when they say, I'm passing down a legacy or an inheritance, most times you think it's money. The inheritance and the legacy you can also pass down can be bad habits, can be bad cultures, can be bad genes, ungodliness. We can pass these things down to our children, and our children pass it down to the children. And this cycle continues. So you grow up seeing your daddy beat up your mommy. You grow up seeing your brothers beat up their wives. And even when you say, I will never do this, and then you get married and you find yourself doing it, that is because you have not taken time to really sit inwards and tell yourself what to do when situations get tough. You go to work and you come back from work and your boss makes you so mad, the traffic break makes you so mad, and you come back, you're already fuming, transferred aggression, and you come back and your wife makes one little comment. What do? You descend on her. That is one situation. Another situation is where these men feel like it is their job to mold their wife. It is nobody's job to mold anybody. It is not your job as a wife to mold your husband, or vice versa. It is only God that molds, only God that can change. The only thing that we are called to do, because I'm speaking to Christians now, that we are called to do is to love God, to love our spouse as God has asked us to love them. And whatever it is that they're doing that we don't like, then we take it to God. And sometimes I wonder, I say, who gave you the guts to put your hands on your wife? I know women beat up their husbands, but this is a video, that is a different video for another day. Who gave you the guts? Who gave you the 10 commandments to play God? To play God in your home, that you have to descend on your wife and put this kind of harm on her. And you do these things, and this is a woman that you have sworn to love. And the Bible said, cherish your wife as a weaker vessel, so that your prayers will be answered, so that your blessings will not be hindered. And then these women go down on their knees and they cry. And sometimes things are hard for you, and you don't really know where the hardship is coming from, and your prayers are not answered, and you don't really know why. You don't really know why. I am begging today. I am begging to our fathers, to our men, to our mothers, to raise our boys to know better, to our fathers to show good example for the boy child, so they see that violence is never the answer. To the families to know that when a woman has been violated, when a woman has been, beaten up, she's supposed to have a refuge. When she runs to her family should not say, oh, who are you divorcing him? Where are you leaving him for? Okay, if you don't want to take your daughter now that she's alive and find a way to make peace, do you want to take her when she's in a coffin or when she's 6 feet under? Is that what you want? So we should have safe places for women, and we should end the stigma that comes with a woman that is trying to run away from physical abuse in her home. The stigma, because I am telling you, until you have seen it happen to a close friend and you see what these people go through, you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. You don't really know what's going on. So that stigma attached to women that run away because they can't take the physical torture anymore. Emotional torture is worse though, but the physical torture, where, you know, the beating and the punching and the hitting, the stigma, as a society, we have to end it. And then I also want to plead also with the pastors, with the priests, whoever is watching this video. It is high time we stand on the pulpit, on the altar of God, and call out this sin that it is. Call it out. Call it out. Have fellowships and, you know, and gatherings where you speak to the men and let them know that this is not okay. So if there's any man doing it in the church, in the house of God, he has to desist from it and speak up. Our men have to speak up. Whether you've done this before or you've not done this before, we have to speak up, because it's not the women that is going to end, it's our men that is going to end this culture. Sometimes they say, oh, I see how he beats that girl. If it's not my sister, if he was my sister, what I will do to him? So because it's not your sister, then you don't have anything to say. You can't call him to order. You say it's a family matter. And that goes for the government. The government says it's a family matter. When you call the police, I heard somebody call the police in Nigeria. The police say, oh, that one is family matter. We are not involved though. Then when the woman kills the man, then the police come and charge her for murder. But when she was screaming and asking for help, the government was not involved. So we are supposed to have hotlines, numbers that women can call and go seek refuge, shelters, you know, support non-governmental organizations, NGOs that are helping these women and children, a safe place that they can stay while they, you know, try to make peace. Because sometimes you have to leave. A man actually said for him, beating up his wife was like an addiction, that she was a cocaine, that he got a high from beating her up. I was like, wow. So he had to leave. Leaving was like leaving the half house. Leave. So when he left, and then after some months, almost 6 months, they came back together, and they, you know, he had to walk through his anger. You notice he had a lot of anger issues. So we need safe places for these women to go to, so they can, you know, for the meantime, while the families, the pastors, whoever it is, comes and, you know, settles it. And women, this silence, this culture of silence has to be broken. And somebody said, oh, in marriage, you have to be quiet. You keep quiet until you go 6 feet under. You need to speak up. Have somebody that you can speak up to and ask for help. And then I'm also talking. I want to also talk about the children. From 13 years, 14, 15, 16, they have started dating. Whether you like it or not, when you have a child at that age, they know many things about you, even about sex, more than you know as a parent. So you start teaching them what to do and what not to do, things to do and things not that they shouldn't do. You know, have a fellowship where you teach the youth about abuse, about violence. Because don't assume that they are Christians, that they know what to do. I'm telling you, many people don't know what to do. But when you teach them how to, you know, like you say, oh, when you're angry, walk away and cool down, and then come back and revisit the issue. Because you know, when somebody is angry, it is a recipe for you to say or do things that you will regret later. This issue of domestic violence, I am tired of seeing it. I am tired of seeing it. And I am praying, and I am begging, and I am pleading that all hands should be on deck. But this is not something that only one person should talk about. And I hope that this message has met you well. And I want you to know that even if you are involved in this, there is hope. All you need to do is seek help, seek counseling, seek prayers, speak to somebody. If you're a woman that is going through this, there is hope. Seek help. Don't keep quiet so much that the next thing we hear on news, on Facebook, is your obituary. Speak up. Speak up. When you speak up, things can be done about it. I will see you guys in the next video. I love you, my precious people. Bye for now.